They said it was not a good idea to take food there. For example, the same muffin on the table disintegrated in 15 minutes, leaving only an eerie, greenish mold in the pile. There was even advice to keep your stomach empty before going there. They say that in the morning you eat anything, in the afternoon you cross the threshold of the apartment and immediately you vomit, but not what you ate the day before, but a blackish mass. Rumor has it that this was true of the water. In bottles it would turn green and smell disgusting after 10 minutes, and if you left it in a glass, it would somehow unknowingly evaporated, and only a muddy abrasive trace was left along its walls. It was said that after a day the clothes would start to wilt and come apart at the seams. Threads could be frayed with a finger into dust, and zippers, rivets, and buttons burst from the slightest touch and turned into fine crumbs. It was said that shouts of help from the balcony and attempts to attract the attention of passers-by standing in the yard caused the trees in the yard to yellow leaves to fall, insects to die, and local cats to make unpleasant noises. The yard asphalt was covered with new cracks. The curbs were sinking more and more into the ground. All kinds of gnats were clinging to the street lamps. Clouds were barking in the sky, raising an alarming wind, and only the street garbage-like seasonal birds was rushing to the street of their humanly incomprehensible garbage self, knocked down in complex wedges and shapes, signs of death, and ladders that slowly crawled across the yard and rolled into whole words. These words, sometimes unnoticed by anyone, entered into a complex polemic with themselves, trying to understand how they existed and what eerie meaning they obeyed. For a long time they wondered what they were, and when they answered their questions, and that the worst of all, somehow realized that they again became just street trash, dancing in the wind. It was said that one should see such garbage messages, and they will certainly tell you something about destiny, mysterious existence. The main thing is to keep in mind the right questions, and something will certainly answer you. It was said that they lived there by those who had once realized something, who had seen the truth in the garbage dancing in the wind, the heap of homeless people and the cloud-covered sky, which acquired mystical distortions were reflected in bottomless puddles and broken glass of abandoned houses. A truth beyond the grasp of mere mortals was revealed to them, and unlike most people living in their own dreams, they didn't get past it. So those who sought have found, and those who had everything have lost, and the search has forced them to say they were called gossipers, and no one ever saw them. Their very existence was a rumor, or perhaps a gossip at all. Everyone has at least once heard a story about how someone once sitting at a bus stop, standing in line, or wandering through the market, the edge of the flight, heard an atypical conversation directed as if into the void. From the words of others, the story seemed to have been addressed to all manner of abominations of humanity and worldliness, following the urine on the wall, the shadow of the dumpster, the smoldering on the landed cigarette butt, a dropped piece of dog hair, rust on a pole, and a hole on a rotted shoe that was somewhere sure to be under the fence in the bushes. More than anything else, they loved to talk about the others, about their fates and how they got into the house. They said that the house called for the chosen ones, and that there was no escape. It is there that a man finally remembers from what part of eternity he came to this world, and the truth of it makes him laugh, and the laughter is so crazy, loud and unbelievable, that its ringing once again makes the world go deaf and stops hearing the soul of a creature succumbing to cosmic madness. It was said that according to rumors you can't get there and so without an invitation. The main thing is just to listen to life, and those who likes to mess around with wall postings, entryway steps, and other unnoticed household items. Like, there's also a reverse ritual for those who are targeted for an unprecedented good, who is willing and, most importantly, ready to subordinate to his will the slice allotted to him in eternity. That's where the weird stuff starts to happen. Some were frantically searching for this house, oriented by the stench of landfills in the direction of twilight shadows. In a time when the fabric of reality is particularly thin, others blindly believed that gossipers could somehow be caught in the midst of a crowd if they themselves started spreading implausible rumors about life. Thus, gossipers by nature will not be able to keep silent and will certainly begin to argue. And in this argument, they will blab about the house, and that if you do not hesitate, you can't get to the house, because after the course of the sun, it always disappears, and with the dawn, appears again, only elsewhere, invisible to the public until it's told to someone else again. Someone told Charles about the house, and Charles told Alvin and me about it. Wait, or is that not what happened? It's kind of hard to focus now. I think Charles mentioned the house first, and then we told someone about it with Alvin. Yes, or Alvin told me and Charles. I've been having trouble remembering things lately. It was not for nothing that I began to write everything down in detail, but also so that I wouldn't be pulled up for lying later on. So that here's the text file, just in case, retroactively, to any conversations on the internet referring to myself. That's not to mention all the videos we're gonna have on the channel. By the way, that's probably not the right start, but you will already know everything about it from the video. But in order to follow the chronology and not to confuse myself, I will start from the beginning. A couple years ago, Alvin, Charles and I got the idea to start our own YouTube channel to make vids about the supernatural, paranormal, which was then becoming a thing again. On the rails of the next wave of the coming hype, I know it's a trivial topic, but for some reason it seemed to us that we were the ones who would catch God by the beard, and we would be lucky. At first we even had some views. Small. I think the self-made videos gathered no more than 500 likes, but for us it was just a colossal success, and then it was dead for a year. No, all year long we kept filming and posting new videos regularly, but subscribers didn't grow and views did. There was very little in our own town. We managed to hit all the abandoned houses and bump sites, 2 cemetery nights each, and probably another something in the woods for the 100th time. Who knows how it really works? Some of them managed to attract the gods of YouTube algorithms, while others, like us, repeatedly hit the same ceiling, which limited our growth. The ads bought from other channels didn't work, nor did they work, and neither did the advertising, which, hell, be honest, I didn't want to mention at all. All of this together slowly pushed us to curtail our YouTube activities. Often there was no time left for it. Then something didn't work out for me or for one of the boys. At the same time, I started dating a girl who, in front of her friends, was embarrassed to tell her friends about it, about what I do outside of school, abandonment, a night in the woods and a cemetery. And the minds of many it was something quite childish. The whole thing got to me, and to tell you the truth, I've even thought about stopping hanging out with the boys altogether. By then, our videos had devolved into outright staging, and aside from the shaky camera and screaming, nothing much was happening in them as things changed here. In one of the videos, Charles mentioned the house, and after that, the activity on the channel increased dramatically, mainly due to comments. I knew my haters and trolls over the years by then, partly even understood them and treated their comments with irony, but those who appeared on the channel and started Writing strange comments were not like the haters and trolls in my usual sense. The main way this was expressed was that all of their comments touched the house, didn't mention him just once to 1,000 new viewers on the channel, as if his head had snapped off. Noticing this, in the next video, Demon again talked about the house and at the end asked if the subscribers would be interested if we went in search of this mystical place, and again down scenes of completely new users with some really crazy comments about the house, like there's no house, who are you kidding, and then a bunch of strange insults along the lines of posh fucking skier, pregnancy, smells forever, and morning creep is elusive. At one time we used to laugh at these comments, and in the videos we often provoked them on purpose to make them even more active. The views went up, and with them the word comments about the house. That's when one of those crazy subscribers posted the exact address, which we couldn't help but check out. And here I am. Yes, I probably should have started here. Charles is the most persuasive. He found this house without any problems, rented a house in the morning, and at lunchtime we arrived at the place with all the equipment, like equipment, a couple of GoPros and a laptop for recording, which is what I'm writing everything on now, just in case all the videos suddenly and unthinkably go down. Although I don't really believe in any kind of outright mysticism that can corrupt videotapes, this kind of thing will make our outing more interesting, even more realism. So all the events will be constantly duplicated in the text as well, like a live text. In short, you get it. The excess is clear in the process of editing then will be removed, as well as all my lengthy reasoning. But here let them already be. Anyway, the original version no one will see, while the guys left and should come already under the night. So I decided not to lose time and beat up the material, so to speak, as we go along. What can I say about that very creepy house? Man, they say not for the record. In short, the most usual Mala family. The only thing that the courtyard itself is strange. Never such before in our city. I haven't seen it. This house forms a sort of enclosed square, and inside that square is a small courtyard. There are clotheslines, a couple of benches, and a small outbuilding. On the other side of the house is a car wash, a bus stop, and a stall. I was originally expecting something sinister on that edge of town overlooking a slaughterhouse or at least a cemetery, but it turned out to be much more trivial. It's weird. I've been here before, back in the days when we had Mandarin in school, and I've had threes before. We even ate hot dogs bought at this very stall, the ones with Korean carrots, mayonnaise, grated cheese, and green onions. But I don't remember the house for some reason. While we're on the subject of food, I can't help but bring it up. The subject of all those food warnings. For the video, we understandably use something prepared in advance, but there we pour the earth into the pot. Instead of porridge, we pour dirty water into bottles. As for me, I've just eaten and I'm fine. I'll have tea now, I guess. Put the kettle on, went out on the balcony to see what was there. But for the video I shouted a couple of times, like people on the street looked at me like I was a fool. Why am I doing all this? Of course, all those stories about the house, the ramblings of a bunch of trolls who are so over the top, you should just get behind a laptop and into something until tonight to play, and then the guys will come and we'll start shooting content. Actually, to play did not work. A couple of times cut off the light briefly for about 15 minutes. I guess some power surges during this time. Put our homemade tripods with cameras, let them rate whatever device should be in a couple of hours. I almost forgot to tell you about the apartment itself. In fact, there's not much to tell. Just two rooms, a hall and a bedroom, and they say little family. The kitchen is small, as well as the toilet and the bathroom. There is also a pantry, but it does not open at all. In the hall is an old pudgy TV. If anything, I haven't turned it on yet. I'll have to turn it on, let it work as a background for a better effect. Mostly I hang out in the hall at the table. I don't know. Somehow, I don't feel like sitting on the couch in the gym or lying down on the bed in the bedroom. The furniture is kind of smelly, especially the bed in the bedroom. Smells like it was burned in a fire somewhere outside and then pissed on and dragged. And, Tom, it stinks. I don't plan to sleep here anyway. The guys should be here soon and we'll start making content. Great. Charles just called and said in a dying voice that he was sick, but great. We'll be shooting with Alvin. He's got the wrong ton, of course. Like Charles, I'm sure the two of us will have a blast. But we need to get something off and then go home in the morning. I think I get it. I think they've made up their minds to make content on me, as if without my knowledge to play. And maybe all this time there were hidden cameras somewhere in the hut. Guess what? Alvin will not be able to come, but that's not all. As soon as he wrote me about it, someone in the entryway set fire to the carpet under the door. I have no doubt that it was them, probably watching how I will react through their hidden cameras. It's good that I have the ability to record everything in text form, so I just sit at my desk and write monotonously. And what they see through their cameras, I don't care. I put out the mat and brought it into the apartment. It's strange that none of the neighbors came out. There was smoke on the whole floor, even a light bulb on the aisle. You can't see it. There's less smoke in the apartment, but it stinks. Open all the windows to air out. Now I'll probably record some weird and scary noises in another hour, and then I'll call a cab and go home. And now a real emergency. I brought my laptop in the kitchen to unload the videos shot during the day and put them in different corners for the night, as suddenly I hear a neighbor talking from somewhere above. The kitchen just overlooks that square courtyard, and the echo there is just brutal. You don't even have to listen. And this conversation was just so weird. I'll give it below.
Hello, Kara, are you there? Kara, you're on TV. Kara, turn on the TV. Hello, Kara, turn on the TV. I'm telling you, you're on channel 5. Kara, hello, Kara, can you hear me? I'm telling you, you're on TV on the news. Yeah, channel 5. Yeah. Oh, Kara, what are you doing? Stop. Stay out of there. Kara, get out. Hello, Kara, get out. Out of the coffin. Kara, stop. Get out of the coffin. You, hear me. Get out of the coffin. You're lying in the coffin. Kara, why did you get in the coffin? It's cold in there. Yes, it's cold. I'm telling you. How come? I know. Dora told me yesterday. Yeah, she said, you'd be cold out there. Stupid. Okay. But I managed to write it all down word for word before. The same neighbor's voice from upstairs 5 minutes later called someone else. Yes, Kira, it's you. It's Sarah from the 8th. Kira, can you imagine? I'm just watching the news. And then Kara's on the news, and she jumps into the coffin and goes crazy. And not just lying there, but telling everyone so, carelessly. Kira, if you see her, tell her that in her coffin. If I want to lie there, I'll lie there. She says. Her coffin, full of garbage, says homeless people have coffins. It's better than that. You know, I'm shocked. I'm gonna try Ariel. They're on the phone. The connection underground is quite bad. Almost immediately the same voice started talking again, but probably to someone else. Hello, Ari. Yes, this is Sarah. Yes. Yeah, Sarah. Why I'm calling you. Kira, remember? Yeah, I'm sitting there embroidering, and they call me with Kara, and Kira starts talking in such a boorish tone. I'm with Kara. Sarah saw on the news, and she cracked in the coffin at the funeral. What a shameless bastard. And Kara is on the side of the phone, shouting. Yes, she shits everywhere. In elevators. In the entrance. She shits. She gets drunk. And then she'll drink boiling water and start shitting everywhere. And I'll say to them, girls, why are you slandering Sarah? Sarah is an exemplary person, an example of morality. And they say, yes, we personally saw it. We swear to you, you should do something. Otherwise, the whole market will soon say bad things about you. And I did what? I called you as soon as I found out. You know, I'm all for justice. Thank you. Come on. Sarah, don't spoil it.
And all this talk even made me genuinely smile. There was something both silly and funny about them, which made me think that the boys were playing a joke on. Nay, and maybe they had hired some woman to sit in the apartment above and read it all from a piece of paper. I Saturday in the kitchen for another 10 minutes. The apartment was well ventilated by this time, and I could finally switch to that very content. But before I got up and left, the voice from above caught someone again, and this time I could no longer. It was so funny. Laura, this is your 8th caller. Sarah, your downstairs neighbor. Yeah, why am I calling you? Laura, Kira, remember? Yeah, so you know she tells Kira and Kara all sorts of nasty things about you. Yeah, oh, Laura, it's embarrassing to repeat it. This Kira has no bones, no shame at all. I'm 10, shameless. I tell her to stop lying, and she, bah, 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 bah. Such I told. For you, I remembered, up to the pressure jumped, and I tell her to be quiet. Look at yourself. Lara, couldn't do that. It's been decomposing in my house for months now, and it's dripping black from my ceiling, and I collect it in buckets, and then I'll roll up the winter in a jar. Yes, that's what I said. And she said, who are you going to roll up? She is going around the house every day, sniffing the kitchen dishes with her trumpet nose, chewing on the mirrors in the bathrooms and everywhere after she leaves rust on her head. And I tell her, you come crawling to me in the winter when you're hungry, bitch. Fuck Sarah. She'll get it from me. Let her eat herself, like worms eat her flesh. And then the light went out at the very end of the conversation. That's not something you can't think of on purpose. It must have been the guys in the entrance that knocked up my plugs, but there are no such coincidences. They're probably laughing at me now. I'll have to play along, I guess, to make the video look more believable. It's strange. The traffic is still there. I had to go out into the entrance, but it seems that only I have no light. In other windows it's there. It's on fire. I just noticed it now. So I'll set up the tripods, play with the camera for about 20 minutes, and then I'll call it in a cab and go home. So, I got the lights, the laptop on the charger, put the cameras on, and that's very strange. I almost forgot that I have to go home at last. It slipped my mind. It never happened to me. If it wasn't for the text, probably would have been so dumb. Walking around the house from one room to another, I forgot to call a cab again for 20 minutes. I decided to write it down so I wouldn't forget. I even enlarged the font for this purpose. I finally caught a cab. Said a car would be here in 10 minutes. I don't want to think about it, but there's either some kind of mystery going on here, or the guys told me something was put in the water. Indeed, but they brought water and food. I was carrying camera, laptops. Probably something was really put in the water. Somehow my head doesn't think. I can't concentrate for a long time. I'm always distracted by something. At least I don't forget to take notes. And that's it. I decided to watch TV. The cab is late as it happens. No text, no call. I'm sitting, waiting. The TV here has only 2 channels. One is very bad news, as with interference, and on the other some humorous program. except that no one laughs and show only the audience from the audience, which they are so diligently and attentively looking at. Well, what the hell? Some kind of fortress. A couple of minutes so looked and something became uncomfortable. People are all tense there, as if a second before the fright followed by a scream. There is something like that, unspoken and heavy. They first showed the same people, and then the same people again. Only one place was empty. Then another, where there were three. There were two people, where there's two people alone. And then the empty seats started. Creepy. Fuck it. I guess I must have missed the cab because no one texted me when I arrived. I'll call one more time and I'll be gone. By the way, I've noticed that I write too much here and do little, and I should do the opposite. It's probably just nervousness. I should finally get out of here and go home to sleep. It's crazy. I've run out of money on the account. Some kind of evil prank. That's it. I'm gonna get my laptop and go outside. Okay. The car wash under the house is round the clock. There, I'll ask them to call me a cab. And that's not funny at all. They seem to have locked me up or locked me out. No. Well, that's it. It's too much. Okay. To make a production, but without I'm gonna try to kick the door down gently. I don't want to sit here anymore. It's uncomfortable. Somehow, such an ancient-looking door, but no way. I just tried to kick it with my foot and there was no reaction at all. They seem to have really stolen everything with some bollard. To spite them, I'll keep frosty and show not to panic. Let them see through their hidden cameras that I don't care. I think I just heard their speech from the side of the yard by the sound they were talking from, somewhere above, like this crazy grandmother, probably sitting there, watching and laughing at me. Now I'll try to overhear their conversation. Yes, it looks like they're really guys. Voices are definitely theirs, but who are they talking about based on their conversation? Clearly not about me. They're always discussing pustules on the walls, boils on the floor and sores on the ceiling. About I was awake from class again and I didn't know what to. So I sat in the kitchen for half an hour listening to their rambling conversations. There is nothing much to quote below. The only thing I noticed was some strange growths on the walls and ceiling, stinking. You may not believe me, but I have just witnessed a very strange action. I was raised from my seat by a noise that came from the front door. Unfortunately, the cameras don't record what's going on in the entrance. I'm the one who's watching everything that's going on through a cloudy peephole, so you'll have to take my word for it. And what I saw was this. The neighbor's door opposite opened and some man came out of it. He passed my door and started down the stairs below. Then another man came out after, and then immediately another went there. About 10 people came out. I didn't think much of it yet, but when even those didn't finish, something clicked inside me. I couldn't tear myself away from the door. People at the same time. I was scared and wondering. 10, 20, 30, 50, 80, 110, 140. I think at that number I stopped counting. How can that be? To be from a small apartment on the 7th floor. Like a clown car, 150 people came out one after the other. Crazy. The TV in the hall just turned on. I almost shit myself. I bet the guys have some kind of spare remote control with them. They're probably clicking away channels, laughing and watching me through their hidden cameras. They turn on the news. The interference is much less, and they show this house, but the one where I'm sitting, and it is like that. You know, like sometimes vineyards overgrow houses, only it's in some abomination. in growths and rough gradients, some cartilage, some veins, with lanterns shining on the house from all sides, and this shit glistens in the light like a Christmas tree. Only the garlands are missing. Alright, fuck it, I'll look there. If I'm lucky, I'll try to get the door off its hinges and get out of here. Finally, as I said at the beginning, the Clat Dubaya is not in any way, and in the closet's only things. And you know what? There is one thing that confused me very much. For some reason, all jackets and sweaters have 4 sleeves. Probably it is some kind of props, or again pranks, eyes, and in general, from whom in the end Charles rented this house. I only now more and more begin to pay attention to how much the carpet on the ceiling, the wiring on the floor, and the wallpaper, the inward pointing, the head. I don't feel like going to sleep, but where to? I'm a little scared to think about what kind of spaces I could get into if I were to theoretically fall asleep here. I'm generally more and more scared. I don't want to show it outwardly so that everyone who watches the new video won't think that I'm a total bitch, but right now I'm really anxious, and I wish I had the internet here. It would probably make it a lot easier to distract myself until morning, just an hour. At this rate, by morning I'll be completely out of my mind. Time stretches endlessly. There are a million thoughts in my head, and someone is always banging on the wall. I just start writing down my observations, and they start banging as if I have music playing. Here we go again. I just sat down at my laptop and started writing. I started tapping. They're crazy. They're going to tap back. Yeah, they did. Now they've been tapping for 10 minutes without a break. I know. Now, I'm gonna get a mop, tie a GoPro to it, and stick it out. I'll take a picture of it out the window and see what's out there. But no, it's totally surreal. I just uploaded it to the laptop video and watched it, feeling weird. There's a TV right behind the neighbor's wall, on which the same room is shown, and the man who is knocking on my wall without interruption. I turned on the TV at home. There is no such program on any channel. The news again, and there is a local horrible humorist with empty chairs. Only now many chairs are dirty. Everywhere boils and mushroom growths. I did not have time to write, but only remembered for that fucked up grandmother from above, as she immediately started to call someone again. Again she was scheming. The first person she dialed was Kira, asking for. Kira's answers were audible to me, and her words made the house shake, and the hair on the carpet on the ceiling stood up. And then the old woman upstairs, as if talking to herself, said she was going to call Toma. But from the further silence, I realized that she apparently didn't pick up the phone. The grandmother kept calling her rather strange friends. Each time she asked who had left Barta in the yard. Marie, take Barta away. What are you like this? But take him away. There's no reason for him to stay there. There's no reason for him to stay there. It's cold and it might rain, and he's been hanging there for 2 days already, drying. But take his skin. It's already well dried and only takes up space on the clothes lens. My curiosity took over. I'll take and with my homemade selfies with a stick, I'll take a picture of this babka. I'll stand on the windowsill, pull out the mop with a book, mop attached, and hold it for about a minute. Then unload the video to my laptop and see what's on it. I give up. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'm really nothing. I don't understand. For a full minute, I stood on the windowsill with my arm up and recorded what was happening at my grandmother's apartment. And the video shows my feet in the apartment I'm in, as if the camera had traveled through some unknown, through the portal from above and crawled out the bottom at my feet. but that can't be. I'm on the 7th floor. From the top. 2 more. I gotta get some sleep. The boys must have spiked it. Some kind of mind-numbing drug in the water. I can't think of any other explanation. You know, I think they can't hear my thoughts. In addition to the grandmother and sitting in one of the apartments of the boys, there is someone else. They are voicing my guesses, voicing those thoughts that I do not really want to think about. What if it's all for real? What if it's true? All those rumors about the house. No, this cannot be. It's clearly a trick of the boys. I must try to sleep. Here we go again. Not 10 minutes after, they started whispering, and they're whispering mostly about the fact that the boys aren't real, and they're passing the reasoning off as mine. So they tell each other, "Oh, I know. He's been telling everyone that Alvin and Charles aren't real. He's told the whole town about Ed. I know. He's told me twice. He's always adding nasty things about them, calling them names. And he's probably sitting there satisfied in pretending he's not listening to us. And he's writing everything down in his rat. Do you think he'll understand soon that there was no getting out of here, or would begin to ask uncomfortable questions? At this rate, I think not soon. What yet? That retard. He'll probably sit there and write everything down in his rat, and he'll definitely twist everything, and he'll probably write that very bit inarticulate voices, and will cry about how he doesn't understand anything. I don't feel like writing anything anymore. It's like I'm going in circles in my thinking and my decisions. Why? I'm still here. There must be something I can't do about it. It's like I want to write something important, something I can't forget, but I keep forgetting it. My head. I don't really remember Charles and Alvin. Like, I remember that they're my buddies and we have a YouTube channel, but beyond that, I just looked at all the videos and pics on my laptop and couldn't find anything. With Charles and Alvin, strangely enough, the video is from our channel. At least they had to stay. They can't have all evaporated. They're probably on some kid's computer, I guess. I'm starting to get paranoid. I can't get any sleep. I can't remember what time the guys' birthdays are, and their names have slipped my mind for some reason. It's a bit weird. I'll try not to develop these thoughts. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong about the boys, but what about our channel? What was it called? I've been sitting here for an unknown amount of time trying to remember. I just noticed something creepy. I'm either imagining it or I'm dancing off, but it seems like a fragment of the text I was going to write down appeared on the monitor, and I think it was about this. Okay, I'm going to try to close my eyes and not open them at all until morning. I'm tired. They're whispering again. Sound is coming from somewhere, out of the bedroom or even the stinking bed. I don't know what to do. They're voicing my thoughts out loud. Again, now they're thinking about what color my decomposition stain will be on the floor, but they do it as if I'm thinking all these thoughts. Just now I reread the whole thing and was horrified. I don't remember writing the beginning. I don't remember how I ended up here. I don't remember bringing the hardware of this laptop. I can only vividly recall the moment I started writing, already about my arrival, but I learned about the arrival already from the written text. What was before that? Why can't I remember how I got here? They know that I realized they know I figured out their big secret. All this time, they've been playing me for a fool. They've been slipping me this text and whispering what I've been writing down here, taking it as my thoughts. I've been recording what's going on. From their words, from their whispers, they were the ones who convinced me that Alvin and Charles were real. That we had decided to make a video here about another urban legend through their conversations. I was aware of myself and replaying the reality I, or whether Charles with Alvin existed, whether there was I, whether this is the world where all this is happening, who I am, how to get away from it. For if I realized, Ed, I must have there must be a chance, there must be salvation. There, whispering has stopped, the light has gone out in the windows opposite, and now they are sitting in silence. All of them, how many there are and what their true nature is. I am afraid to delve into these thoughts, for I realize one thing, the whispering has stopped for a reason. It has stopped because that now they are listening. My life depends on what will happen next, and I know what to do. I know how to deceive them. Now I will take the phone and pretend to call someone, and then I will tell in the void about how I deceive those who are listening, that in the apartment there is no one, and they only listen to another gossip about how the narrator is neither here nor there, under the blackness of existence, with a face contentedly whispering to the sky like a song. Lines, how all have been deceived and left fading meanings in their stead, and the foolish scurrilous, the postulates of hate and darkness have paid off on this, for they all don't want the truth and live by gossip, and these words are sure to please them. Guys, you won't believe this. I'm writing to you from my apartment. I can't believe I got out just as I started telling the void all this gossip. The door lock clicked. The apartment opened and I flew out of there. Luckily, I hadn't forgotten my laptops and cameras. Ran away and you would never know what I had to go through. Luckily, there were cab drivers near the car wash, so I left in the first car. I can't even believe, Ed, I'm home. It's almost 7 a.m. It's about to get late. I should go to bed, but the adrenaline is kicking in so hard I probably won't be able to sleep. I'm scared to write this. A couple of minutes ago, I threw up several times a black heterogeneous mass. Just now I rewatched the Goop Ropes footage and was horrified. In all the footage I am not in the apartment, but in some dirty little basement. I don't understand how this is possible. I saw it all live. I was there for so long, and both cameras only have 26 minutes of footage. I'm just crawling on the ground and eating dust. It's good at least the guys turned out to be real. I went to the internet, found the page of both Charles and Alvin, because I had already assumed the worst. So I'm going to get some fresh air on the balcony and try to sleep. I was just standing there on the balcony, looking out into the yard, digesting everything that had happened, and saw something strange. A light wind came up and yard debris flew in different directions, and then the same garbage seems to have been collected and formed into a word, but I just couldn't read it. It's still dark, although it should have lightened up by now. Okay, I won't edit anything. I'll upload the text in my original video to the internet now, and I am finally going to bed.